Hi everyone. In the previous video we discussed about bank statement reconciliation matching rules, reconciliation tolerance rules and reconciliation matching rule sets. In this video we will focus on two setups, that is bank statement transaction creation rule and setting up reconciliation controls. So before we jump into the first statement of our first setup, let me recall what is a bank statement. Bank statement is a document sent from a bank to a corporate customers, let's say in our case some ABC organization. That document will consist of all the bank transactions happened in the account for a given period of time. That given period of time can be few hours or one day or can be more than that. Let's assume we got a bank statement for one day. Then that bank statement will consist of all the transactions happened in that bank account for one day. So yeah, then let's try to understand this significance of this setup, and then we will do the setup later. So let us focus on this diagram that I have added to understand the concept. Here in the real time, right, on daily basis, if ABC organization is having bank accounts with 10 different banks or multiple accounts in a single bank, right, that bank or multiple banks keeps sending bank statements to the ABC organization electronically, and the bank statement will be different for each bank account. For each bank account, ABC organization gets a bank statement on a daily basis, and ABC organization will have a mechanism to load that bank account through a automated process. We will look at that in the later videos. So let's assume it loads the bank statement through that automated process. After that, we run auto reconciliation program. So this auto reconciliation program will be run for an account. Let's say we run it for a specific account. Then this program will reads all the bank statement lines that are loaded into the instance for that account, and this program will apply auto reconciliation matching rules and corresponding tolerance rules that we discussed in the previous video. And if there are lines which matches that criteria, this program will do the reconciliation for those bank statement lines. And if you go in the front after running this program, if you go into the front end and see the bank statement lines, the status will get changed to reconciled provided that line meets the reconciliation matching rules criteria. So this is one step. And if our bank statement is having 100 lines, this auto reconciliation program might process 70 lines out of that, and there are 30 lines which are remaining. So then we will do manual reconciliation. So in manual reconciliation, we got the bank statement line, right? We have the bank statement and it has multiple transactions, out of which 10 are already reconciled through automated process, and we have 30 remaining. Out of those 30, let's say there are 20 statement transactions for which there is a corresponding Oracle transaction, but it is not reconciled in the auto process because there might be some difference in the matching rules, might be system reference or amount mismatches. Let's say some bank statement is having $300, but Oracle transaction is having $320, which exceeds the tolerance limits. Then we will reconcile such statement lines for which there is a corresponding Oracle transaction in the manual reconciliation. Even in manual reconciliation, this is going a bit deeper. At the bank account level, we will be giving the manual reconciliation tolerance limit or tolerance set, which we will discuss in this video. And if that applies, if we give a some tolerance set there, even if while doing manual reconciliation, If those tolerances exceeds, we cannot do even manual reconciliation. So let's not get into that deep. Let's assume whatever, to keep it simplified way. If we have a bank statement line and which is not processed in the auto reconciliation program, and if it has corresponding Oracle transaction, um, to keep it simple, let's assume that we reconcile it in the manual process. And then we have 30 lines, right, which are not reconciled, out of which 20 are reconciled in the manual process. Now let's assume there are 10 lines for which we have bank statement lines, but there are no corresponding Oracle transactions. So the example of such lines, as we discussed even earlier, let's say if bank applied some fees or interest, those will be entries in the bank statement, but there won't be the corresponding Oracle transactions for that. So these lines has to be processed, has to be reconciled. For these, as there is no Oracle transaction, we need to create a transaction for that statement line. There comes our setup into picture. If you read this setup clearly, bank statement transaction creation rule. There is a bank statement with some bank statement lines for which there is no Oracle transaction related. So we will be creating a transaction for those lines. And this setup helps this. Using this setup, we define the rules that will be used by bank statement transaction creation program. So in this step, we will run the bank statement transaction creation program, which looks at the bank statement transaction creation rules that we define, and we will assign these rules to the bank account, which we will see later in this video. And so this program will pick up all those rules, and if there are if our 10 lines in our bank statement which are not reconciled matches to these rules that are defined to the bank account, then it creates the transaction. This program will create the transactions for those statement lines and reconciles them and creates the accounting, and status will get changed to reconciled. So now, to give you the better picture from the data perspective, this is the table that we discussed in the last video. If you have not seen the last video, you can watch the last 5 minutes of the video to understand this table. To briefly describe, this data represents the bank statement lines. This data represents the Oracle transactions. This is a matching rule that we have defined in the instance, and we are saying with that matching rule, will this row gets reconciled or not? If not, what we can do, right? We discussed about first 3 rows when we are discussing about reconciliation matching sets for auto reconciliation. This row I have added now. Let's say we have a bank transaction for $3,000 with the transaction quantity as 7,006, and our Oracle transaction is $3,300 and transaction difference is 7,006. Transaction reference are matching, but amounts are not matching. It is $300 above the bank statement line. So auto reconciliation process won't pick it because we have defined the tolerances as $10, but this is more than $10, so it won't pick it. So we have to do a manual reconciliation. That is the action that has to be taken to have this line to be reconciled. Now let's take our bank statement is having 2 more lines, fee and interest. These rows are relevant to the setup that we are talking about, bank statement transaction creation rules. If bank statement is having these 2 lines for which there are no matching Oracle transactions, because there won't be, because bank is applying some fee and interest and there won't be related Oracle transactions defined already. In this scenario, our bank statement transaction creation rules will be useful. We will be defining the rules for these cash transaction types, and we will assign these rules to the bank account. And when we run the create bank transaction creation program, it reads these rules that are defined at bank account level and creates the Oracle transactions. We will get Oracle transactions created and they will be accounted. So in high level, that is how the process is. And I gave you a snapshot of transaction creation rule. We will create them in the instance now, but to have, as we are discussing the concept, to correlate that. So this is how we created the bank transaction creation rule, and this is legal entity specific, and we will select the statement line type. In this case, for interest lines, we will create a transaction Oracle with type interest under US1 business unit. And if we check the accounting checkbox, it creates the transaction in Oracle and it do the accounting also. We will be providing the cash account and offset account. Hope that is clear. I'll move on to the next setup. Setting up reconciliation controls. This is the end, you can say, because till now we covered multiple setups. We covered bank transaction codes, auto reconciliation matching rules, auto reconciliation tolerance rules, auto reconciliation tolerance sets, right, and parsing rules. And now we, in this video, we covered bank statement transaction creation rules. We defined all these rules, but they has to be finally associated with your bank account, so that when we do either auto reconciliation, manual reconciliation, or bank transaction creation program, when we run that program, everything processes the records for one bank account at a time and applies the setups that we have defined till now and do the reconciliation. So at bank account level, if you see this, we will be setting up auto reconciliation rule set. This will be used by auto reconciliation program. This set will have auto reconciliation rules and corresponding tolerance levels. So auto reconciliation program runs this all the rules under this rule set, and if the bank statement is having any lines matching this criteria, they will be reconciled. Then when we are doing the manual reconciliation, this is the point I discussed when I was talking about manual record in the table. Even it looks the tolerance level. If you don't want to apply any tolerances during manual reconciliation, you can keep it blank. This is not a mandatory field. And I'm coming to this place, and this is where the bank statement transaction creation rule that we discussed can be associated to the bank account. If you see, we can associate multiple items in sequence, and when we run the bank statement transaction program, it processes one at a time in the sequence. There is no rule set concept here. It is only transaction creation rules, so we have to associate. If there is something like a rule set, we can create a rule set and associate just the transaction creation rule set here, but the way that is there for auto reconciliation. But bank statement transaction creation rules, there is no such concept. If there, we need to apply 10 rules, we have to give all the 10 rules in sequence here. And when bank statement transaction creation program runs, it processes one at a time and applies and creates the transactions in Oracle and do the accounting. And this is the parse set which we discussed in second video of our cash management series, and this is a rule which will be executed at import stage of the bank statement loading, and it will translate some of the values in the interface bank statement interface tables and inserts that into different columns in the base tables. If you are not seen that, you can refer the video to understand the significance of this parse rule set. Now I will navigate to the instance and we will create one bank statement transaction creation rule, and for one bank account we'll associate whatever we have created till now, these setups. Navigate to the setup and maintenance. We are in financials. Search with manage creation. This is back. Navigate. Click on the task bank statement transaction creation rules. We can create a new one. I have created a couple of things yesterday. Like I'll create SM US1 interest, US1 legal entity. So this is the cash management transaction type. In the bank statement, if there is a line with the transaction type as interest, this transaction creation rule will get supplied. I'm not giving the transaction code to keep this rule broader, not specific to any bank statement line transaction code, and it will create one line in Oracle with the type as transaction interest under US1 business unit. I'm giving the cash account. I think this is the issue with legal entity. Let me change the legal entity. Yeah, so I'm taking the cash account here. Offset account will be different, but for now I'm copy pasting the same. Now save and close. That is how we create a bank statement transaction creation rule. Now we will navigate to the next setup to associate all the setups that we have discussed till now into a for a bank account. Right. So in the first video of the cash management series, we have created a some bank account, but that account is no longer available as instance got refreshed. So I'll use one of the existing bank account and I'll associate all the setups to that bank account. Manage bank accounts. Click on manage bank accounts. Let us look for Bank of America. Yeah, we'll associate our setups to this account so that even the down the line in the next videos when we create when we do reconciliation, for which we need to create the transactions in the instance, at that time we will use the same account, Bank of America 2869. So here click on edit. This is what we have seen even in our previous screenshot. Here we'll be giving the our setups that we have done. This will be used by auto reconciliation program to reconcile the bank statement lines for the bank account to Bank of America 2869, and we can give our tolerance rule, and when we are for this account, when we are doing manual reconciliation, then this rule gets applied. Let's say if you don't want to keep any rule for manual reconciliation, we can leave it blank, so that no rule will get applied. But for now I'm giving the SM tolerance rule. And coming to the path sets, even we have created SM rule sets in second video. I'm associating that here. And coming to the bank statement transaction creation rules, this is the topic we are discussing in this video, and we just created the rules. There are already rules assigned, but we can assign even our rule. SM US1 fee. Now we created interest, right? Okay, I'm assigning SM1 US1 fee. Whatever we created is not coming because we created under this different legal entity US2. That is the reason it is not showing up here. Whatever it created under US1, they are coming. Might be this bank account is not associated to US2 legal entity. We can check that as well. If you come here under business unit taxes, it is associated only to US1 business unit. That is the reason it is not showing the our transaction creation rule that we have just created. Let me see if I can add another business unit. Let us search with US2 legal entity. We have created our transaction rule under US2 legal entity. It is not legal entity specific. Okay. Let us search if there is any business unit with the name US2. Yeah, there is a US2 business unit. Okay, let us say okay. US2 business unit is added. Now come to the controls, and now let us see if SM interest transaction rule that we have just created is showing up. Yeah, I still can't see it. Legal entity name Technova Solutions. Okay, this is the one that I have created the other day. I will see why it is not showing up. Let me add this here. Okay, yeah, that's what to understand the high level flow, that is very important. um, we have created the setup still now, and we are associating all these setups here, and the flow diagram that we have given here is important to understand, that this tells us how the bank statement loading and reconciliation program happens in sequence. Yeah, thank you. In the next video we will see how to create a bank statement, and then we will proceed on creating the and performing the auto reconciliation, manual reconciliation, and creating the bank statement transaction creation program, running that and creating the transactions in the instance, and then how to create a BA to file, how to load a BA to file. We'll get into those topics in the coming videos. Thank you.